All right, let's talk something a little bit more uplifting. All right,
Yes.
we need something.
Yeah.
Jayson Tatum. When I said
Wow.
before he ever played a game, Robert, I tweeted Jayson Tatum will have a better career than Paul Pierce and will be a Hall of Famer. He had never played one NBA game.
Yeah.
People crushed me.
Oh,
And I get it. Listen, I get it because they hadn't seen him play,
yeah.
100+ times like I had in person between AAU, high school, and at Duke. So I understand it. Are you with me now? Are you, or am I still?
I want to go that. I'm on board that they made a great decision on draft day to trade there to get him. Obviously, and by the way, I'm glad Fultz is going to have a career. I'm happy for him. I think let's be aside. If people aren't paying attention, Markelle Fultz has a career now, and he's going to have an NBA career. He's never going to be merited as the number one pick in the draft, but he's going to have a 10 or 12-year NBA career. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Yeah. So I mean, I'm happy because what happened to him was sad, and I'm glad he can resurrect himself. Now, Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum is the big thing that step up this year. A couple things, just assertiveness. As a rookie, the thing that caught my eye the most as a rookie, Jeff, was that extraordinary first step. His going to the basket and then he got away from it last year. But the whole thing was off kilter for them last year. Between he never Jaylen Brown.
Don't say the name. Don't say that name. That I know he's going to come out of your mouth.
Jaylen Brown figured it out after a while, but Jayson I don't think ever did. But now Jayson had a off-season tutorial with the late Kobe Bryant, and I know my good friend Jackie McMullen said, "Well, that's wonderful, but the guy that he should be trying to emulate is Paul George." Not Kobe, but I think it's not so much that Kobe was instructing him in technique or as much as mental approach and awareness. Yeah. And I think that's what he picked up from Kobe and Bryant. But people don't know this outside the outside world. But he spent a lot of time with Kobe last summer, and he has clearly benefited from it. The big thing up this year everybody's talking about is defense. He's upped his defensive game. Brown was the one who had the defensive calling card from the start. He had to learn how to shoot better, blah, blah, blah. And Tatum was the other way around. That's a formidable forward duo. And they're still Brown is like the graybeard at 24 or so. Right. And Tatum is player of the week. He made the All-Star team. How about the back-to-back? They had players. They both made player of the week. Yeah. But the Tatum is he's making you look good, Jeff. Your prophecy is now starting to take some shape.
Yeah, I know he's got a long way to go. I get all that, and obviously you've got to win, you've got to sustain it, you got to do it for a long time. To me, he's established himself now as the Celtics' best player. Maybe not their most important. I still think Kemba Walker, your point guard, will be your most important. But before last night's loss, over the last 12 games, he was averaging 26.6 points a game, shooting 47% from three over a 12-game span, right before the All-Star game.
Oh, his rookie year, he was leading the league for about a third to almost a halfway through the season. And last year, everything went, just fell off.
Well, here's the difference. His rookie year, they just put him on the right wing and had him stand there as a three-point shooter, and nobody guarded him. Because coming out of Duke, he wasn't known as a – I have fun with him all the time. I said, listen, you couldn't shoot from three before you got to the NBA, and you couldn't guard a lick. And he laughs, and he's like, I was better defensively than you give me credit for. I'm like, fine, you were better maybe the second half of the year at Duke, but you weren't like you are now. And that's really a testament to him. He's a smart kid. It translates onto the court. He's long. He's athletic enough. So I think all that plays in. If you give effort with all those, like Andrew Wiggins, and we're going to talk about Andrew Wiggins in a minute in the trade. Andrew Wiggins has the physical abilities to be not a good defender, but an elite defender. Jayson Tatum has some of those same abilities, but again, and I think he's much a higher IQ player than Andrew Wiggins. So when you put it all together, it's really 95% of it comes down to effort. Do you want to be a great defender? Right. And Tatum, that's what he's done.
No, I think he's dedicated himself to being a truly great all-around player, and they're benefiting him, and wonderfully from it. No, there's nothing not to like this year about Jayson Tatum.
Yeah, he's been tremendous. Gets the All-Star berth. I think it'll be the first of many, and as I said, in 10 years, I don't know how many years it's going to take for people to agree. with my proclamation before he ever played. I get it was being a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if it was one of those maybe it was a hot take. I just, you could see it. You could just see the talent, the character, all of it. The fact that he could score at all three levels. And the part that I think we're starting to see a little bit now, Bob, and I've talked to him about it. I said, like, when I first saw you, you could pass the you-know-what out of the ball. And I know he's been more of a scorer at Duke and over the last couple of years in Boston, but he could be that.
That's not the first thing that comes to mind is passing. Right. No, you're right. Yeah.
But he can be that too. He can average 4 assists a game. He's averaging 3 this year, and it's still early, especially playing with the guys that he plays with now. It's not pound it like Kyrie was doing. Now it's move it.
When they're on their good nights, when they're playing right, they move the ball as well right now as anybody. They move it, and that's the big change from Poundorama, so it's been good. He has a chance to distinguish himself in another way. He could become, if he is, because the greatest player ever to come out of St. Louis. And
who's the greatest player ever to come out of St. Louis?
Would be my candidate for that, JoJo.
JoJo. Yeah.
JoJo White's from St. Louis, Vashon High School.
Yeah, great high school.
Okay, that's where JoJo's from. And I would say he's the Hall of Famer. JoJo's the leader in the clubhouse as the greatest player that I know of. Maybe somebody can, yell at me about you forgot about Mr. X, but I'd go with JoJo. But I think Jayson Tatum, by the way, I think he's highly aware of this. From something I remember picking up on a couple of times of the stories that have been written about him. He's very proud of coming out to St. Louis. And I think he's highly aware of the fact that he might become the standard of excellence of the fine city of St. Louis.